Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you all are fine. Students, we are in unit 2, that is software basics. In the last lesson we talk about the software and its two basic types, that is system software and application software. In today's lesson we will talk about the system software in detail. System software is a type of software that can control all the components of computer. System software is also known as general purpose software. It is necessary for all computers. The basic categories of system software are operating system, device drivers, and utility programs. These three are the basic categories or types of system software that we have in our computer. Here in this diagram we can see that how the software is divided into different types. First of all, the software divided into system software and application software, and further the system software is divided into three categories or types, that is operating system, device drivers, and utility programs. In today's lesson we will discuss the operating system in more detail, and later on we will talk about the device drivers and utility programs in the coming lessons. But in today's lesson we will only talk about the operating system and its functions. Operating system. An operating system is a system software. It controls the hardware and software resources of the computer system. It provides the tools or commands that enable user to interact with the computer. There are many operating systems developed worldwide and being used for various purposes. Some examples of computer operating systems are Microsoft Windows, in which we have Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8 and Windows 10. Further, Unix is also an operating system. Macintosh is also an operating system for Apple made computers. Here we have some of the examples of different operating systems. This one is the Apple operating system. The symbol is used for Apple operating system. This symbol is used for Linux and Unix operating system. This one is the Windows operating system, iOS. This is also an operating system developed by the Apple for iPhone or iPad like devices. Android operating system, this is the symbol for Android, and this one is for Ubuntu operating system. There are so many other operating systems available in the market, but these are just few of them, and the widely used operating systems are Apple like Macintosh operating system, your Linux operating system, and Windows operating system, iOS and Android. These are the most widely used operating systems in the world. Now, functions of operating system. What are the functions which are performed by the operating system that we will discuss in this topic? Operating system performs various functions that are listed below. First function, that is booting, program management, file management, configuring devices. In your book, these four main or basic functions of the operating system are mentioned, but apart from these four functions, the operating system performs many other functions like memory management, device management, processor management, security functions by the operating system, error detection, coordination between software and user, job accounting or job scheduling, and file management. All these functions are performed by the operating system, but in your book just few of them are mentioned because the other functions are beyond the scope of your syllabus. So these functions are studied at advanced levels in the subject of operating system. In this lesson we will only talk about these 4 functions performed by the operating system, that is booting, program management, file management and configuring devices. So we will talk about these functions one by one in the coming slides. So the first function, booting. Booting is a process of starting a computer. The main feature of operating system is to boot the computer properly. During computer booting, operating system checks each hardware device that is attached to a computer, that whether the device is working properly or not. Here in this diagram we can see that the first step is to power on the computer. Whenever we power on the computer or we switch on the computer, first of all the BIOS performs post. You already know the post abbreviation, power on self test. The purpose of this test or this power on self test is to check the hardware devices of the computer, that whether they are properly connected and they are functional or not. And this post function is performed by the BIOS, and then after this the operating system is loaded from the disk, where it is permanently installed from the disk into the RAM. And we know this, that whenever we want to execute any program, whether it is a system software or an application software, it must be loaded inside the RAM first. So the BIOS actually loads the operating system from the disk into the RAM. Here we can see that loading of operating system from disk into the RAM, and once the operating system is loaded, it means that we have booted our computer successfully. So this is how this booting function is performed. First of all we power on the computer, then the BIOS perform the post function, power on self test. If all the devices are connected properly, like for example memory, hard disk and other input output devices, they are connected and functional. So after that the BIOS will load the operating system from disk into the RAM, and our computer will be successfully booted. Program management. This is the second function performed by the operating system. Operating system manages all programs that are running on the computer. In today's computers, we are able to run or to open multiple programs at the same time, and multiple programs are running on our computers simultaneously, and this is just because of this program management function of the operating system. Operating system loads the program into computer memory. So whenever we want to start or we want to open any program, it is first loaded inside the computer memory. Now who is responsible for loading that program into the computer memory? That is, the operating system is responsible for this function. Further, the program is assigned from the memory to the processor for execution. This is also done by the operating system. The operating system performs all the related functions and activities with the program management. In this diagram, this is a process state diagram, and normally we call it process management, but here we can also call it program management diagram. Here we can see different states, different possible 5 states of a program. Whenever we run a program, whenever we start a program, whenever we open a program, whenever we execute a program, the program may have any of these 5 states during its execution. For example, whenever we start a new program, so I told you that whenever we start a new program, it is then first loaded inside the RAM. So at that time when the program is being loaded inside the RAM, at that time the state of the program will be new. Like for example, that it means that we have started a new process or we have started a new program. When that program is loaded inside the RAM, then we know that when it is completely loaded inside the RAM, it means that it is ready to be executed. It is ready to be executed by the processor. So inside the RAM, the state of the program is changed into ready state, which means that now the program is loaded inside the RAM and it is ready to be executed. It is ready to be assigned to the CPU for execution or for running. So when it is now who is doing all these things? The program is loaded inside the RAM. This is done by the operating system. Now the program is ready to be executed. Now the operating system will dispatch and will assign that particular program to the processor or to the microprocessor or to the CPU for execution, and the CPU will execute the program. During this execution by the CPU, three different situations can occur as shown in this diagram. If the program is running and in between there is an input output event required, like for example if we are playing a game, so the game software is running by the CPU, it is executing by the CPU, and in between we have we need an input output event, like we are providing the input from the keyboard or from mouse. So at that particular instant, when we are doing an input output event, at that time the program will get into the waiting state, because it is waiting for that particular input and output, and after that it will perform some action. So the program gets into the waiting state, and once we provide that input output, or once we have done that input output event, then after that the program will again get from the waiting state into the ready state, and once it is again into the ready state, then it is again ready to be executed by the CPU. All these things happen within fraction of seconds. So a program can have multiple can have these five states during its execution. And the other situation, that when a program is running or it is executed by the CPU, then we know that we are executing multiple programs at the same time in our computer, and whenever and all the programs are running by the same CPU, all are executed by the same single microprocessor. So actually the microprocessor time is divided among all those open or running programs. So when the first program is assigned to the CPU for execution, it will utilize its time slice, and then it will get back to the RAM or to the ready state, and the other program will be assigned for its execution. It will then the second program will utilize its time and it will get back to the ready queue. Then the third program will be assigned to the microprocessor. For example, if we have three programs running at the same time, so they will utilize their time in a sequence one by one, and this process takes place in such a fast way that, being a human, we cannot predict that delay in between the execution of the programs. So it seems to us like that all the programs are running simultaneously at the same time, but in reality they are running separately, and they are utilizing their time slice for being executed by the CPU. But the time slice is very short, within milliseconds, so that's why it is too quick, when we cannot observe that delay or interrupt between the execution of different programs. And that interruption of the execution of a single program by the CPU and assigning it again to the ready queue after being executed by the CPU for its specific time slash, that thing is called interrupt. The third situation is that if the program running by the CPU is executed completely and it has nothing to do anymore, then it will get into the exit or terminated state. After its complete execution, of course the program is going to be terminated and it is going to be closed. So at that time its state will be changed to terminated state. So this is how, this is not for your not included in your course, and it will not be included in your paper, but this is just for your understanding and your information that how this program management takes place. Because here in your book they have just mentioned the 2 sentences about program management, but it's not that simple. There is a complete process behind program management, and this is the main diagram which explains the program management or process management by the function by the operating system. I hope you guys understood this process a little bit. So it is just for your information and concept. File management. This is also an important function performed by the operating system, which is mentioned in your book. The operating system keeps track of all the files on each disk. Operating system can make file management easier by creating a hierarchical file system. Can make file management easier by creating a hierarchical file system that includes folders and subfolders arranged in a logical order. Here in this diagram we can see that how this hierarchical file system is managed by the operating system. As whenever we use our computer, so most of the time we have the main directories in our hard disk, that is C drive, D drive and E drive. They are the main directories when we open my computer, and in that C drive is most of the time is the root directory, and inside the drives we have different folders. Other directories can also be formed inside the root directory, like in here inside the C we have documents directory, applications directory, and again DOS directory. Inside the documents we have different files. Inside the folder we can have files. Inside the folder we can have the other folders, like inside the apps we are having one folder of spread with the name spread, and the other folder is assigned the name games, and inside the DOS folder we have the files. Again in the subfolders we are having different programs. So this is how we can arrange our files, folders and subfolders in a hierarchy, where the files are enclosed inside the folders and the folders can be enclosed inside the other folders as subfolders, and all the folders are enclosed inside the root directories or the disks. So this is how the file management function of the operating system is performed. Configuring devices. This is the 4th function mentioned in your book by the operating system. When user installs a device, the operating system, means Windows, automatically configures the device so that it can work properly. Here in this diagram we can see many input and output devices with a computer, which are all of these input output devices, they are managed and they are operated and they are successfully configured by the operating system. Like the monitor, this is the operating system who identifies the monitor and displays the images on the monitor. The CPU and inside all components inside this system unit, they are configured by the operating system, because without operating system all these different devices, they are dead and they are useless. If we don't have an operating system, what is the use of keyboard, printer, scanner, speakers, mouse? They are useless. We cannot use them without having the operating system installed in our computer. So this is the operating system which automatically configures all the devices connected with our computer like microphone, speakers, all these devices are configured by the operating system. So configuring devices is also an important function performed by the operating system.
Okay students, that's it for today. In this lesson we have discussed the functions of the operating system. In the coming lesson we will talk about the device drivers and utility software and their functions. And don't forget to subscribe my channel Computer Tuition Academy and press the bell icon for more updates. Thanks a lot. Take care. Allah Hafiz.